Welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Got another game of Kings of War this week. Again, it's my Ogres. This time they're taking on Josh's Goblins. We're playing 2,000 points and the scenario we rolled up today was Fool's Gold. And let's have a look at my army list today. Made a few changes for this battle. It's dropping down to 2,000 points again. I've added a red Goblin Scout Regiment. I've tried them in the past and I've been pretty average at using them actually, so I wanted to give them another crack. I was hoping that having that extra mobility and speed will allow me to get onto the flanks and hopefully work them with the sergeant on a chariot. That's another change further down. The rest of the units I'm taking are pretty standard for me. The boomer chariot troop, the boomer and shooter hordes, warrior regiment to protect one of the flanks, the siege breakers, many, boomer sergeant, as I said, sergeant on a chariot, bit of mobility. He's got a crossbow, and then I've got Nom Nom as well. And let's have a look at Josh's Goblins today. He's got 16 units, 23 unit strength, so out deploys me quite considerably. Got a nice balance of units in his army. He's got his 4 Goblin Rebel regiments that he uses as chaff and is usually quite good at placing those to disrupt incoming attacks and things. He's got 3 Troll regiments. One of them is the Exploding Trolls, another has got a Chalice of Wrath, the third lot are just regular trolls. Mincer Mob Regiment. It's got the Wingit, the Magwans, and a Goblin Blaster. He's got a few characters. He's got the Troll Bruiser. He's got Kuzlo and Madfall, which is a new addition to his list for this game. He's got a Wizard on a Moor Beast with the Host of Shadow Beast, which he uses to boost up Groany Snark's attacks which explode. So that's one of the really dangerous combinations in Kings of War at present. Lots of talk about how nasty, some would say over the top, that combination is, but I have to do all I can to mitigate it. And he's also got Grupp Longnail. So he's got 4 units that are potential to blast and damage my units quite badly. So my aim was to try and avoid those units as much as I can and try and shoot them if I could. I wasn't really sure how I would do, but I was worried about all those units with blasting and those characters especially. Right, let's have a look at deployment. Out here on my left, I put my warrior regiment, Manny, and the shooters. Manning the warriors to protect the flank of the shooters because I was worried about units coming sneaking around this way. I put my scouts and sergeant holding the middle. Bulk of my force was deployed around here, and they were just going that way because the objectives I wanted to take were these ones here. As it turned out, Josh pretty much deployed his units, his heavy hitters opposite mine, and he put a bit of a, most of his rabble in the middle. They were coming this way. I wasn't worried about the objectives out there. I decided to ignore them. I was hoping they weren't going to be too many points. I can't really afford to stretch across the board, so he's got his winglet and things tucked in behind the church, and they were going to be able to swing round. So I had to just try and hold up that flank if I could, while trying to dominate and win on the right hand side. Here we've got a nice shot from the end of Josh's turn 1. I must remember to take more of these shots because they give a really good overview of the battle. As you can see, Josh's goblins around this area have advanced. Around here we've got the Wingit, we've got Snark, and we've got the Wizard sneaking around behind my flank. And in the center we've got the trolls here trolls up on the hill. The mincer mob were actually stuck a wee bit in behind, and so were these trolls here. So I was wanting to hold over here. Oh, went back to that useless yellow. Let's change that. And let's make that red. So I was hoping to hold here. The shooters fired this way. He went forward, fired that way. Nom Nom fired there as well. The boomers advanced a bit, and then they fired on those trolls. So I managed to kill the exploding trolls. Oh, and I think the boomer went forward as well against their lot. So all my firepower I could muster went against the trolls there, and I got a lucky waver over here as well with the boomers. So from my point of view, it was a pretty successful first turn. Josh, the only shooting he had was a lightning bolt which had hit many, but then we realized that he was out of range, so no wound on many after all. End of turn one. There's a winglet and a couple of characters zooming down the flank. The goblins are advancing in the middle. I'll change to this way because you've got more of the sun behind it. Goblins shooting, hit many, but then we realised he was out of range from a lightning bolt, and I managed to explode the trolls that were here, the exploding trolls, and also wavered those trolls. I got very lucky with my nerve checks. But on to the goblins' turn 2. And on to turn 2. Turn 2 proved to be quite a pivotal turn. I managed to waver those trolls there again. The siege breakers, no, sorry, I didn't do that. Siege breakers charged this way into the bruiser, destroyed him. The boomers charged there and wavered those trolls. Nom Nom turned to offer spell support. These siege breakers charged and destroyed those goblins. So I killed about 4 units that turn. But things weren't looking so secure on my left flank. As you can see, that strike force of Josh's has zoomed around behind my lines. I was in 2 minds what to do here. Turn the warriors to face, but the characters are just going to dance around me. Same with the shooters. Turn 90 degrees, have 9 shots, probably hitting on 6s, or plan B, which I decided to do, was actually many of the shooters charged into the goblins here. So I had about just under 500 points, taking on a 75-point unit of rebel. They became pink mist pretty quickly. The warriors charged the other unit of rebel down here, only wavered them. The idea of doing that was to try and get beyond the woods, get the shooters out of line of sight of these 3 units. Manny wasn't going to get out of line of sight due to his height, but I was hoping to be able to protect those other guys by doing that, because I was really worried about what was about to happen on this flank. And as you can see, the shooters have moved forward. Manny's turn to face. He's about to be attacked in the next turn by the winglet plus Mr. Snark, which wasn't going to be a good day for him. Nom Nom turned and moved over to support the wavered sergeant. Tried to heal, only got 1 wound back, so he's still sitting on 8. He was wavered. Just out of sight here is Kuzlo, so that wasn't probably going to end well for the sergeant. And after dealing with the more pups or Magwans, whatever they were, I think they were Magwans, the scouts have just turned this way to face, because I am really worried about those threats getting in behind my lines and causing carnage. And a bit of an aerial view at the end of the turn. So Nom Nom's healed there. Siege breakers have dealt with the rebel in here. Boomers have wavered the trolls there, but that also leaves them open to these trolls here who are about to slam into their flank in the next turn. And I wasn't able to do anything about the blasters, so in their turn the blasters just simply turn and charge the siege breakers. I was just going to have to hope that my front armor of 6 and my siege breakers was going to be enough. So yeah, a good turn, but the battle I think at that stage swung in my favour by the fact that I'd taken out 4 units that turn. A couple of them, like the trolls, were pretty important units, so I was feeling a wee bit more at ease at the end of that turn.
Okay, that was a good turn for the Ogres. Unfortunately, the Sergeant got hit by the more pups, and the flank should have been destroyed, but and also had Kuzlo in the front. Only took 9 wounds, and Josh rolled a 4, so he was wavered, which meant that Nom Nom was able to heal, but only healed 1. My scouts charged in, took out the more pups. I charged here, got rid of some goblins with Manny and the shooters advanced afterwards. These guys are scooting around the flank and ready to cause all kinds of mischief. I'm trying to stay away from them. The siege breakers took out some goblins. Boomers failed to take out the trolls but did waver them. And we also got rid of the bruiser sergeant. So a good round for me, but a lot of fighting still to come.
And here we have one of my favourite units in Josh's army, his Goblin Blasters. They're kind of freaky alien looking, but they are really, really cool miniatures. And he's just painted this up, and really like the job he's done on it. This is his wizard with Shadow Beast on a Moorpup. Really nice miniature. Love the shading. I must have a look into the contrast colours because they do look good. And the third unit that I really like in his army is, of course, his Wingit. It's a very nice model. And one of his 4 units of Rebel. They were one of the first units he's painted, and he's changed his basing since then. Okay, and moving on to turn 3. As you can see here, my boomers are in a world of hurt. They've just been hit in the flank by those trolls. The blasters have just charged into the siege breakers. I'm hoping that the front armor of 6 is going to protect them. The mincer mob get a bit tucked in between the troll units and not able to do anything on this turn. And here we go, the battle of the heavyweights. Manny has just been hit by a Wingit accompanied by the Snark character, who has been boosted by the Shadow Beast. So he's got even more attacks, which is not going to go well for me. And here's another shot of that. You can just see up the top here, the shooter's been hit in the flank by a unit of rabble, but they were coming out of difficult terrain, so needing 6s. So I think the shooters survived that one quite comfortably. Manny, on the other hand, was in a lot of trouble, but luckily he only took 11 wounds, 9 of them caused by Snark. But for not the first time, Josh rolled 1 less than what he needed to destroy Manny. So Manny lived to fight another day, and in my turn, he just squashed Snark, squished him into the hillside there, which was very satisfying from his point of view.
Siege breakers and the ogres on this side have smashed through the trolls. Over here I lost the sergeant to Kuzlo. Manny got extremely lucky against Snark, took 11 wounds but survived against the Wingit and Snark, and then killed him in return. The shooters rolled way over dice and killed the other character there. and I've cleaned up a couple of the other small units. So Josh is really in a bit of trouble at this stage, beginning of turn 4. So I've got an objective here, all mine were here, a 2 there, a 1 there, and a 1 there. Josh put his one, a 2 and a 1 over here.
Right, here we go on turn 4. I've cleared the trolls off the hill now. I control those objectives. There's not going to be anything that Josh is going to be able to do to get those ones back. So I'm controlling 4 points there. On the other side, the wing it, Manny was over in here, flew past Manny down and into the Goblin scouts and just wavered them. The wizard managed to shoot over this way and did another wound on Manny but didn't kill him, and Nom Nom has charged over here to take on KoW.
Bottom of turn 4, siege breakers were destroyed by the mincer mob, but then my boomers and chariots responded and killed them. And over here, most of my units were wavered. Got hit by the winglet in the rear, but only 4 wounds. My shooters were wavered as well, and took a lightning bolt, but survived that by many, but you shouldn't survive too many more lightning bolts. And I'm running off to get the objectives.
Turn 5, not a great deal happened. We continued our fight between Nom Nom and KoW, with Nom Nom being wavered again. The Wingit wavered the Goblin scouts again, and that was really the only stuff of note. I think Manny may have died to the lightning bolt, but that wasn't going to change things, and I controlled the objectives over there still.
Very fast turn 5, not much happened. I wounded KoW and I killed some rebel. My goblins were wavered. Josh continued his trend of rolling 1 less than he needs for nerve checks, but very important, wizard blew Manny to smithereens. So not looking good if you're a goblin.
And there we have it. Victory to the Ogres, 6-0. It was a good game. It didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go at all. I was, as I said through the video, really worried about the impact that those characters and units that can blast my units were going to have on the game. So my aim was to try and deal with those via shooting as quickly as I could. The problem being there's so many other units and threats to take care of that you've got to worry about those as well. The flanking move around here was a big concern. So as I said, my response to that was to actually try and push forward through the woods and stay out of the way as much as I could. That seemed to work. I was able in the end to overwhelm Josh's trolls on this flank and grab the loot tokens that I was after, or the objective markers, whatever they were, which worked well for me. Josh, as I said, was pretty unlucky, really, though. There must have been 4, 5, maybe even 6 occasions where he rolled 1 less than he required to break some of my units. Happened to the sergeant, happened to the scouts, happened to Manny, number of other occasions as well. And the luck just falling 1 below what he needed time after time really didn't help Josh's cause at all. But I like Josh's army. I don't like facing it though. It's got a lot of different options and moving parts to it that makes it really quite a handful. Turn 2 in this game, when I managed to knock back 3-4 units was pretty pivotal and allowed me to pick up the momentum. And I think Josh's mistake probably was getting the Mincer Mob stuck in behind his trolls. If he had been able to coordinate those attacks a bit more effectively, then potentially things would have been very different there as well. So it was a really good game. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope this image gives you a wee bit of an idea of where the main action in the game occurred. So hope to have another report for you very soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ka kite anō.